How's it going, everyone? My name's iKmRni. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today I'm going to be giving my breakdown of this decade's Call of Duty games. You know, we've had Call of Duty every year, as tradition goes, with Activision pushing out those Call of Duty games. So I thought, you know, now that the year's finally over, the decade of the thousands, the 2010s, they're over, let's give my quick breakdown on what I think the best Call of Duty games were, practically mostly on this generation, but also some from the previous generation console was. But before we get straight into the video, guys, if you're new to my channel, do me a favor and click that subscribe button, because I'm making content here on the daily for 2020, and I hope to make 365 videos minimum this year. Now I'm just going to flash on the screen here real quick on what those Call of Duty games that classify to be this part of the decade, and just give a quick overview on why I have some credibility on this list. Now, my first Call of Duty game was Call of Duty 2 on the Xbox 360 when it pretty much first came out. I played the multiplayer, and I've been playing Call of Duty, been buying it on day one ever since. I switched over to the PlayStation, and every single time I have played Call of Duty on that. I've played every single game that ever came out. I played all the mobile versions. I even played COD 1 back on PC. So I've been playing this game for a very long time, and one of the first adopters of Call of Duty. I'm pretty much an OG like many other people out there, but there's a lot of YouTubers these days that have been playing Call of Duty since Infinite Warfare and Advanced Warfare. These are not Call of Duty veterans. That's why I believe this list is current to what I think my opinions are, and let's get straight into that. So I'm going to start this list backwards. I'm going to be starting from worst to best. I think that's the most entertaining, that way to keep you guys guessing on what is going to be my number one spot. So coming in at number 11, this was a tough one on which was the worst Call of Duty game for me. Now this may be a little skeptical to some, but in my opinion, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare has to take that cake. That was a terrible game. The launch was crap. The guns were garbage. The maps are unrememberable. It was just a game that felt like it was manufactured by Activision. No, no feeling, no passion went into this game. It was terrible, in my opinion. And it really does affect Infinity Ward in this list, because Infinity Ward seems to have some of the worst Call of Duty games, which is a real big shame, because Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty 2, the classic original COD, these are all made by the OG Infinite Warfare team, but sadly they're not there anymore. But Infinite Warfare, easily, by far, the worst Call of Duty game, in my opinion, in this list. Next, number 10 is Call of Duty Ghosts. Now, the main reason this is so low is because this was the game that started the next generation hardware. This game was the first Call of Duty for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and we were coming off Black Ops 2. That's a big deal. Coming off Black Ops 2, one of the best Call of Duty games probably ever made, and then we get this pile of garbage. First, Infinity Ward made this. They're coming off Modern Warfare 3. Now, we understood why Modern Warfare 3 could have been bad, because, you know, the Infinity Ward kind of like left and the whole team fell apart. So we gave them a little chance, and we thought, okay, Ghosts, this is where they fix it. Story sucked. Multiplayer was terrible. It was so slow, laggy. Hit detection was poor. The pacing was garbage. The maps were terrible. Overall, terrible package, and a really big letdown when you compare it to the last gen console when it first came out. We came out with Call of Duty 2, COD 4, World at War, and we started with Ghosts. It was a bad, and really poor start to the next generation console. Had me a little worried when it first came out. Number 9 has to go to Advanced Warfare. Now, I will give Advanced Warfare this. It was probably the prettiest game. You know, the graphics by far are the best in this game. It was a very nice looking game, but the supply drops, the microtransactions, they were so greedy from Activision. I personally am not a fan of jetpacks. You know, Advanced Warfare was very, very heavy jetpack oriented, and it was the first one. Granted, they did try something new. Coming off of Titanfall, they wanted to clearly copy that trend. Usually Call of Duty was the trend maker, and now Call of Duty seems to be following trends, which is a rather disappointment in what the franchise has become. But Advanced Warfare's movements, the maps, overall wasn't a lot of fun. The kill streaks were underwhelming. Overall supply drop system was not there, and I didn't feel like there was a lot of support from the community on listening to our feedback. You know, it feels like they just pushed out a product and they're just trying to milk it out as much as possible. And it really was a disappointment because it had so much potential. You know, we had a great single player, That's the only thing I could say was decent about Advanced Warfare. Number 8, Black Ops 3. Probably the best jetpack game that there was. Recherick really definitely defined its movements. Overall, much better than Advanced Warfare, Infinite Warfare. The advanced movements didn't really work for me, but I found Black Ops to be bearable. The specialists seemed pretty decent, you know, pretty fair balance. It was a lot of fun. Kill streaks were through the roof in this game. Some of the best kill streaks in Call of Duty were in Black Ops 3. Now, I know it seems low on the list at number 8, but pretty much everything above this are good games, and games that I would recommend people actually still go back and play, because there's a lot of good memories you can have with these games. A lot of great playlists, great feedback from the community. David Vonderhaar, as much as hate that he gets, he really does help, and you can see the passion that he puts into his games. And so that's why Black Ops 3 is at number 8. Overall, it was really good. The only thing that let down to me was Black Ops 3 had to be the single player. It was a little too, you know, just not Call of Duty. It was so science fiction and random. It didn't seem like a continuation to the Black Ops series. And I didn't personally like it. I preferred the other more grounded storylines, if you know what I mean. That's why I have to put Black Ops 3 in this position. Now this is where it might start to get a little controversial, because there's a lot of good games coming up in the top part of this list, and I might upset some people's feelings. And number 7, it's gonna have to go to Modern Warfare 3. Here are my reasons. Single player was a disappointment. It didn't feel a continuation to Modern Warfare 2 as epic or as grand or as memorable. Multiplayer was a complete mess. It's understandable why, considering how Infinity War kind of fell apart. But the hit detection was very, very poor. The lag compensation was really hard in this game, for especially me. I don't know how it was for the rest of the world, but people in Canada had a difficult time with lag compensation in Modern Warfare 3. The only redeeming quality I could think of that Modern Warfare did is it gave us the support kill streaks and Specialist. Specialist is one of the great things that Modern Warfare had, but overall, it was a big downgrade from Modern Warfare 2. That's why it's so low on this list and not any higher. Modern Warfare 2 was probably at that peak, you know, that time frame of like from COD 4 to Modern Warfare Black Ops 2, I guess you could say, was the peak of Call of Duty and its franchise. But Modern Warfare 3 was a big letdown. So not just me, the whole community felt it. If you were on YouTube back then, everybody was expressing their opinions, and that's when Minecraft got big. People stopped playing Call of Duty because of Modern Warfare 3 and went on to other games. Next position, I know maybe some people not like this, they think it should be higher, but Call of Duty World War II, it's number 6. And the reason why Call of Duty World War II was such a disappointment was we were comparing it to Call of Duty World at War. And the passion and the feeling and the authenticity that Call of Duty World at War had, Call of Duty World War II did not have any of that. Call of Duty World War II felt like a product. It didn't feel like any game that anybody put passion into. The single player was so overblown on what a World War II story should be, it just felt like we were watching another futuristic sci-fi shooter that just had a paint of World War II aesthetics. A couple things I'll give Call of Duty World War II granted to. The last big patch, the last 6 months of that game, they did get a big overhaul. That team definitely came around and fixed the game with a lot of its issues, but it was too much damage because the maps were terrible. Absolutely abysmal in Call of Duty World War II. The lack of gore, the lack of proper violence, the lack of World War II accuracy, and even having Nazi symbols in there. It just overall just felt like a product and not a really good game. And first of all, that launch. You guys remember World War II's launch? It was so difficult to get into headquarters. It was the most rough launch I've ever seen in Call of Duty history. I've been playing Call of Duty since day one, since the beginning, and I've never had real issues. You know, parties would break up, things like that. But not being able to play the game, that was Call of Duty World War II's fault, and because of that, it's not higher. And I really wish Call of Duty World War II would be better, because we don't really have a good COD World War II game in this generation console. World at War was the peak of the last generation Call of Duty, or even World War II games. So it's sad to see how low Sledgehammer got on this list for Call of Duty World War II. Number 5, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. That's right, it's above all the other games that you've listed so far in this list, but Modern Warfare 2019 was overall a good package. It kind of brought Call of Duty to what it was. The single player was fun, some memorable moments. Captain Price being reprised, even though it's a new voice actor, he did a damn good job, and I felt like I was playing with Price. Overall, the missions in the single player was great. I would give it a 10 out of 10. Probably the best, definitely top 3 campaigns of this generation for Call of Duty. They did a phenomenal job. Multiplayer, the gun detail, the gun customization was fantastic. The perk list was great. The gunplay is great in Modern Warfare 2019. Props to whoever designed all of that, the guys in that Infinity Ward team. You did a phenomenal job. But it had a couple setbacks that really brought it down. Number one is the maps. All of the maps are terrible. Nobody wants to play them. And the maps that they do bring back, they ruin that too by putting too many safe spaces and screwing up the spawns. I don't know how you make shipment worse. It was bad in the original game, but somehow it is way worse in this game. And then finally, skill-based matchmaking. Skill-based matchmaking ruined this game. I play Call of Duty, have fun. I didn't want to be going against sweats non-stop all day. That is why it's not higher on this list. Modern Warfare had the potential to fix this game, to go back to the glory days when we were pub stopping with AC-130s, and they really screwed it up, and it disappoints me so much that Infinity Ward still doesn't want to address to what the community is asking, and that is to get rid of skill-based matchmaking, or at least bloody address it. Number 4 has to go to Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and that is mainly because of Blackout. Blackout was such a huge success to me and to a lot of other Call of Duty players and Battle Royale players. That is why it's so high up on this list. Blackout just by itself was a phenomenal game mode that Dave Alondar worked on. I couldn't be happier. It does have some of its issues, but overall, in my opinion, Blackout is the best Battle Royale game, and toe-to-toe, it gets just as many viewers as Modern Warfare, even though it's a 2-year-old game on Twitch. It's ridiculous how well Blackout has succeeded, and I can't wait to see what Treyarch has done. Overall, Black Ops 4 had some disappointments. It's a prequel. There's no campaign. The multiplayer, in my opinion, sucks. I hate the multiplayer. Just because of how good Blackout is, it really did bring Call of Duty back to what it was. And I look forward to seeing what they do in the next Battle Royale for Call of Duty. But hands down, I'm sure a lot of people can agree, there's no real reason why Blackout, just on its own, shouldn't be in one of the top 5 Call of Duty lists for everybody. I think Blackout is the best. Alright, we're in the top 3. Can I get a drum roll, everyone? Because this is where it might get a little controversial if you don't agree with my list. But number 3 is going to go to Modern Warfare Remastered. I think they did a great job remastering this game. Even with the supply drops, it was fair and anybody can earn it. It just takes time, a lot of grinding. But overall, Modern Warfare Remastered is a perfect example of how you remaster a multiplayer game. It's perfect in my opinion. There is not a single thing I would change. I wanted to play Call of Duty 4 on the next generation consoles. I got it by playing Modern Warfare Remastered. My love for this game still holds up even after 10 plus years I've been playing COD 4. I play this game every week. I love how it plays, love Search and Destroy, love TDM, love all the guns, love all the maps. A lot of you guys may be saying it's just, nostalgia, but when you continue playing the game, it's not like I'm going back and thinking about it. I'm still playing this game. People are still playing this game. It's easier to find matches for Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered than it is to find COD World War II. That just shows how many people like this game, and I think it holds up. The whole kill streak system, the perk system, the weapon system, it all holds up in 2019 and really doesn't show its age. That just shows how far in advance Infinity Ward was with Call of Duty 4, and it would have been higher on my list, but I only put it at number 3 because it's a remaster, and I don't think that's entirely fair. Now, this took me quite some time to figure out which was the best, and to be honest, I wasn't sure which one, and the way I decided it was because both these games, made by Treyarch, no surprise, were phenomenal. Perfect in its time. Of course, it has its issues, but when you look back, there weren't really issues compared to what we have today. And in number 2, actually, I should say why I'm giving my positions. The reason why I gave number 2 its number 2 position is because of the YouTube community of its time. Every time there's a new Call of Duty game, there's new YouTubers coming around or there's YouTubers leaving. And Black Ops 2 is where I felt like the YouTube community really fell apart and people stopped playing the game because they had a lot of Call of Duty fatigue. And that's why Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is our number 2 position on this list. Now, say what you want. I think it's a number 2 position because of that. But the guns, the maps, modes, it was all fantastic. The single player was fantastic. It was an overall great game really did innovate the series with the pick 10 system. A lot of the maps are classics, like a lot of them are great. I don't think there was maybe 1 or 2 bad maps in Black Ops 2. Overall, this is the perfect package. You have your great single player, you have your great multiplayer, and you have your great zombies mode. There is no reason that anybody should put this below the top 3 series in your Call of Duty game of the decade. It's just a phenomenal package, and that's what you should be getting. You should be feeling like, okay, the 60 bucks I spent on this game, I got my money's worth. And there's no doubt in my mind that anybody bought this game had their money's worth. That's why it goes to number 2. So you probably figured it out. Call of Duty Black Ops 1 is my number 1 position. This was the prime of YouTube. This was the prime of Call of Duty. The 360 and PS3 were still battling out. This is what Call of Duty was. We had the best single player, the best multiplayer with some awesome kill streaks like the Huey, Chopper Gunner, Dogs, SR-71. Probably the greatest kill streak train ever with the SR-71, Chopper Gunner, and Dogs. You can't beat that combination. Some of the greatest maps. Snipers were fair after the big patch once they started and actually fixed them and stopped what they were doing with Modern Warfare 2. Zombies, a continuation of World at War zombies, which in my opinion is the pinnacle of zombies, was World at War, Black Ops 1. It wasn't so crazy about the Easter egg. Zombies, anybody could play it. I can't recommend zombies to anyone because it's so goddamn complicated, and you need to have like a handbook while you're playing this game. Back in Black Ops 1 and World at War, you literally just start the map and you just try and survive. And oh my god, I gotta rave about the single player. Like, it is phenomenal what they did with the single player. This is the first time where we got like an you know, if you haven't played Black Ops 1 single player, I'm going to do a Let's Play just to show how fantastic it was. Woods was an awesome character. The voice acting was great. Victor Reznov makes a comeback. Overall, Call of Duty Black Ops 1 during its game lifecycle, during the YouTube lifecycle, the post-patch support with all of its DLCs was phenomenal. I couldn't ask for a better game, and I really do wish that we could get that kind of experience again. And I hope Treyarch is listening to this now, and they really do replicate that magic of Black Ops 1. But that's everything in today's video, guys. Let me know down in the description down below. I'm also going to be adding a poll, and let me know what you think the best Call of Duty game was. And also make a rank list if you want to put that down below as well. I'll be responding to everybody's comments. And as usual, I'll be seeing you in the next video. Thanks everyone for watching this video.